Hi, we're the Sunny Sapphire sisters.
We talked to 5 women who beat the odds you just read and have a STEM career.
These women have advice for girls and young women who are interested in STEM.
We hope you find this video helpful and confidence boosting.
My name is Casey, and I am a software developer and UX graphic designer.
My name is Kim, and I am an occupational therapist. I help people get back to doing their activities of daily living, like cooking or cleaning or other meaningful activities after they've had an accident.
Hello, my name is Leos. I'm not currently in a career, but I am currently in school to pursue a career in coding, hopefully in software. I'm leaning towards cybersecurity, but I'm definitely keeping all my options open.
My name is Vicky. For my first couple jobs, I was teaching biology, high school biology in New Jersey, and then I got hired by IBM, which was it made money, and it was very satisfying. That's it.
My name is Melissa, and I'm a pediatrician. So I'm a doctor that specializes in taking care of kids between the ages of 0 and 18 or 19, depending.
What did I like about my job? I liked the high school kids when I was teaching science in high school. And at IBM, I really liked the responsibility I had and the trust they put in me with millions and millions of dollars of equipment. Because first I was in computer operations. I kept a notebook with me and a pen at all times, and anytime anybody showed me anything, I wrote it down in my notebook. Nobody had to ever show me anything twice. That was a good skill. And I just enjoyed that they trusted me with stuff, and I enjoyed the money, for sure.
I like my job because I like the challenge of all the scientific parts involved. As well as taking care of people and interacting with people and helping to help kids be more healthy.
My favorite part about my job is I have a balance between technical and design aspects in my work, and I also love being able to set my own hours and work independently.
I specifically work with people that have been severely burned, and I like that because I can help them get back to doing their everyday activities, even get back to work. And even though I work in a hospital with patients that have undergone trauma, there are lots of other areas I could work in. That might be working in a school system or a nursing home. I like being able to incorporate all aspects of the physical, mental, and psychological health.
What I like about my area of study is the amount of career paths I can go to. There's lots of different options I have after completing my degree, which I'm really thankful for. I can definitely do stuff that is targeted towards helping people, but I can also go into things like gaming that is for the fun of other people as well. So I like the amount of options I have. I like being able to choose what I do with my career.
I didn't really choose to go into a STEM career, it chose me. I was not looking for a STEM career, I was looking for more of an artistic career, and I learned all my STEM-related skills on the job.
Back in 1984, when I graduated from high school, they didn't really talk about STEM careers. I started going through a book of career opportunities, and I found one defining what occupational therapy was. And I thought, well, that's really what I want to do. Occupational therapy looked at the study of the physical body and the mind, and I liked that combination. And it also had a lot of arts and crafts incorporated, and I always enjoyed being a crafty person.
So when I was in junior high and high school, I was trying to think of what did I want to be when I grew up. And I thought about how I was pretty good at science, and also that I liked interacting with people. So I thought about doing something in the medical field because there's science involved, and because you're interacting and helping people.
I liked science in high school, particularly. My biology teacher in 10th grade, I remember her name, Mrs. Lectrick. I adored her, and I adored biology. The next year, I loved chemistry even more, although I don't remember his name.
I wanted to go to a STEM field, computer science specifically, because first I saw a good amount of potential in myself taking my first computer science classes in middle school and high school. And secondly, I knew that'd be a really fun challenge. I always enjoyed a challenge in school. I never enjoyed being settled or having things come easy. I loved expanding my learning. And so when I found coding, there was just so many ways to expand my learning. And with that, it made me really drive towards learning more about it. And that's why I'm learning it in college now, because I've just wanted to continue to keep learning.
I have a Bachelor of Arts in Fine Arts and a minor in Art History, which I know is not typical for people with STEM jobs, but I have a Master's of Science in Digital Media Production.
At the time when I went to college, it was a 4-year degree. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Occupational Therapy with a minor in Psychology. And I took 6 semesters of anatomy and physiology. I took weaving and ceramics. And the reason we take those classes is because we may use those types of activities to help patients regain, say, their fine motor control, their strength. And then on top of the 4 years of classwork, I had to do 3 3-month internships, one at a hospital, one in a pediatric setting, and one in a psychiatric setting.
High school was a very, very good high school in Michigan, and the science department was wonderful. That's what made me go in the science direction, because I guarantee you neither of my parents nor any of my aunts and uncles were in science, so you have to break away from something sometimes to be strong. And then I went to Ohio Wesleyan, which is a good choice for me. It had about 2,100 students, and I was only 16, so I was not going to get lost. And I went in as a chem major, and that was very, very interesting. Then I took a lot of biology courses. I decided to double major, a major in botany and a major in zoology, because they didn't have like a biology major. They had botany or zoology.
I graduated from high school, and then I went to college, and I studied what they call pre-med track, which is a lot of science classes. You have to take some calculus. My major was actually in French, which I think is really good for my job, not because I spoke French, but because I did a lot of other classes that involved interacting with other people. Then I went to medical school, which is another 4 years after graduating from college. And then I did a pediatric residency, which is another 3 years.
So I've had the privilege of being able to take lots of CS classes before I got to college. I got to take coding classes. Well, not coding classes. I got to learn coding in middle school through my math class. I got to take coding classes in my high school, 2 of them. And currently, as a computer science major, I get to take coding classes every quarter, which is awesome. I'm currently taking discrete structures. But I get to learn lots of low-level as well as high-level programming throughout my whole college experience. I really look forward to the more things I learn. I continue to learn new languages and new applications of coding, which is super awesome. But I have a lot of courses left to take, and I look forward to taking them.
There wasn't one specific class that was most valuable for getting in my career. I'd say just getting a higher education of any kind was most important, and learning how to succeed in all of your classes. That provides a very valuable skill when you're in the professional world.
The class that was most helpful in getting into occupational therapy probably wasn't a single class. Though some were STEM classes, some weren't STEM classes. I think probably number one for me was like the sciences like biology. And then after that would be psychology. And then home economics. And I don't even know if they teach that anymore in high school. It really applies nicely with the field of occupational therapy. I had to learn how to sew, and I sew every week in our clinic. Cooking. Sometimes I incorporate cooking into our activities in occupational therapy, and that might be working on their physical function, being able to stand or use their hands, or even working on their ability to think or their cognition, like calculating how many spoons of flour need to be added to a recipe. And then health class, I mean, just general health, but I'm always teaching my patients how to incorporate good health into their recovery, especially smoking. And smoking is very bad for wounds. And I have to teach my patients about that. And some of them do quit smoking. Also, working in a big trauma hospital, a lot of accidents happen because people take drugs or they drink too much, and that's the cause of their accident. And talking to them about how smoking and doing drugs affects their wound healing, just trying to teach them about those things, and also how eating different foods helps with wound healing, and how food can be used as medicine to help you get better. I see a lot of patients that all they do is eat Cheetos and drink soda, and they don't recover as well as when they eat a well-balanced meal. And that there goes back to my home economics class.
The classes that got me into IBM were actually classes long after my college degree and my master's in science, my almost master's in biology. Because actually, when I was in college, years 61 through 65, my college didn't even get a computer until my junior year. And so when I was working in New York, teaching adults, which was very, very satisfying, I started to take classes at the local junior college, and then pretty soon they asked me to help teach the computer class in the adult education building. So most of my classes for IBM were in-house in IBM. They would send me to basic programming classes for 6 weeks and still pay me my salary.
So my most helpful class for my career path, I'll just say, it was actually my middle school math class. It made me gain confidence about my ability to code. I, first of all, never knew really about what coding was before I took this class. My teacher showed me it. The fact that I had that experience from middle school, the fact that I had a teacher who helped encourage me and not show any difference because of my gender, really helped me understand my my ability to do stuff and my ability to code. So going into high school and doing those classes, I was able to succeed because I knew and I had the confidence that I could do it. And going into college, I still have that confidence. That is what allows me to actually continue to work and continue to go through things, even though there's challenges in my path. That's okay because I know I have the ability to do it, and that's usually what matters.
I think my favorite STEM class in high school was probably psychology. The mind is really interesting, and I don't know, I read about it still to this day. I find it fascinating and interesting, and incorporate things I read about and have learned about into how to motivate my patients and how to understand what they're going through.
My favorite STEM activity was probably easily my coding classes. Those were like, even though they were classes and I was preparing for tests, they were mostly just like fun time for me personally. Every part of it I enjoyed. I really loved AP Computer Science. It really gained, again, more confidence in my ability to code. Once I did it, I think I had my mind set by that time that I wanted to major in computer science because I realized that I was, first of all, really good at it, which was obviously a plus, but also with that I really enjoyed coding and that I could see myself enjoying it in the future, both in college and beyond college.
I would definitely say there is an imbalance, way more men in the software development industry than women, but I luckily have never encountered any discrimination. I would say you just treat others as you want to be treated, and if you rock at your job, they will see that and respect you.
Okay, are there a lot of women in my line of work? Absolutely. It's 90% women in occupational therapy.
The fields I was in when I was teaching high school biology, there were plenty of women for the most part, except when we went to a convention in Atlantic City and there were many, many more male teachers, and the men kind of looked at us few women science teachers, and it was like they were looking at us like, well, serve the coffee and get out of here so we can have our convention. I didn't go anywhere and I didn't serve them coffee. At IBM, it was definitely a man's world. But there'd be like 3 women on a shift among 10 people, so they treated me equally. So, getting along with men, I mean, treat them like women and know your stuff. Don't ever pull the girl card. Know your stuff and earn the respect that they have to earn from you, too.
So when I first started off in medical school, there were more men in my class than women. Actually, the year after I graduated from medical school, there were an equal number of women to men in medical school, which means that when I was going through my training to become a doctor, most of the doctors that I trained with were men. And actually the women in medicine are mostly younger than I am. So it was challenging to be a woman in a field that was predominantly male, where you have to work really hard and prove yourself that you are doing a good job. But it is good to see that there are so many women going into medicine these days.
So currently, the stats for my college, which I go to Cal Poly SLO, the stats for my college is women are about a little bit less than 30% of the computer science department. Compared to some colleges, that'd be a lot, but obviously, just in perspective, it's still so little compared to most majors and most educational fields. I've had to adapt to working with men all the time or male presenting people. And it's not always easy. It's something that if I had the choice, obviously I'd want more women in the field, but I've gotten used to it, which I don't say I would love to, but I've gotten used to it. Some boys don't really know if they're looking down upon women because it's just not ingrained into their ideal thoughts. So being willing to speak up for your learning, being willing to say, hey, I don't think you're listening to me, I don't think you're bringing me a part of the project, being willing to be confident in your own coding and being willing to speak up for it, especially with groups of males. It takes, again, some practice, it takes adaptation, but the more you understand your own potential, the better you can speak to others about it. And not until you understand your own potential can other people see it as well. So I'd say it's really important to be patient, but also speak up for yourself.
I would say becoming a well-rounded person in your education is very important. I wouldn't specialize too much. I'd say the internet is such a valuable resource to research opportunities and just kind of carve your own pathway with whatever you want to do. You can always major in one field but then minor in another, or do volunteer work, clubs, just become well-rounded.
The advice I would give young girls is the same advice that my grandpa gave me when I was thinking about going to college, and that is, you can do or be whatever you want to be. He didn't encourage me to do anything in particular or specific, but simply said that if I wanted to go to school to do X, Y, or Z, that I could do that. And then another piece of advice I would give is that do something that you have a passion for, or something that makes you happy or is rewarding to you.
Not only study hard, take a piece of STEM that you really love. Because if you love your job and you go to work every morning and you love it, gosh, all is fun and they pay me too. And you have to keep studying, keep learning, because these are careers that keep evolving. So keep up with those and be happy to learn.
All right, my advice to young women who are considering STEM careers would be to not feel intimidated if you find yourself around a lot of men in your profession, because you can do whatever you want to do and just be confident in yourself and do your best, but feel free to be yourself in everything that you're doing, but just know that you have a valuable contribution to the world and you shouldn't feel limited by other people's ideas about what you should do.
My advice for women aspiring to have STEM jobs is definitely just put yourself out there. Personally, I know it's unbelievably intimidating. Like, I know going to job fairs scares me. It scares me so much. But putting yourself out there, practicing the skills you need to get a job in STEM, making connections, and especially just finding things to do. If you're in high school, joining clubs, taking classes.
So I think the last comment or suggestion I would have for girls thinking about getting into STEM fields is perhaps not to focus solely on STEM classes, but to get a very well-rounded education, and not just math and sciences, but history. I incorporate history and fall back on relating to people of other cultures all the time. So I really don't think there's any class that probably I don't use.
Recently, this summer, I've had the privilege of working with children in helping them to learn to code, as well as helping them in different STEM aspects. I've taught kids circuit boards, coding, as well as game development. And one thing that really matters to me is helping change the generation of coding kids for the future, and seeing underrepresented kids flourish and enjoy coding is what makes me keep coming back to teaching coding. And so one thing that's really important and one thing that I want to keep with me forever is the idea that ingraining confidence in kids who are young in STEM can change the future. If you can make a kid who is 7 understand their potential, they can grow up to choose whatever they want to do. And if STEM is it, then our future hopefully will change.